Hi everyone, and welcome to the album Dissection. It's your boy Phil Palazzolo here, and we're going to be reviewing today Beach House 3 by Dolla ign. Before I want to start out by saying this album was very kind of inconsistent. As you can hear, I'm playing Dawsin'sBreek, the hit song on the album. And today we're going to be going through track by track what he's trying to say, what I thought of the track, some of the instrumentals, and how I'm going to rate it. It just came out, so not going to lie, I've only gave it 2 listens. If you have a different opinion, please tell me. So, we're going to go over the first track, which is called Famous. Track 1. Now in this track, there's a lot of acoustic guitar sounds, singing, he's kind of crooning, vocalist. It's one of the deeper songs on the album though, as I'm looking at my notes that I made from listening to this album. What he's trying to say in the song is that, you know, how everyone, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You know, how everyone has a dream to be famous, and the hypocrisy that goes along with it. You know, you have a lot of people that would give away anything just for the fame, and I think that's kind of what, you know, people kind of use the term sell your soul. It's kind of like you're giving everything just for that fame, for the money, for the attention. And I feel like everyone has always had a thought, like, wouldn't it be nice to be famous? And he's really conveying this in the song. It's not a hit song, but it's a deep acoustic cover. I'll give him that for the first track. It's okay. I feel like the song also touches how people want to be famous without even working for it. He says that in a couple of his lyrics. Like, it's not easier than it seems. You know, some people think they can do it overnight, but he's trying to say actually there's a lot of persistence and hard work that goes into trying to make a name for yourself. And I think he's really just trying to get that point across in this track. You know, everything goes up, comes down. He uses that as a reference that may be related to staying relevant as an artist. What goes up must come down. There's a lot of artists that they come in real high up with these high expectations and very cocky, and because of how fast excuse me, how fast music is moving, it's hard to stay relevant as an artist because music is constantly changing and it's getting faster as technology keeps increasing, as music streaming has now started and kind of taken over music. It's taken over CDs. You rarely see anyone release anything on CD anymore. It's on iTunes, it's on Amazon, it's on Tidal, it's on Spotify. The only physical thing that's come back is records, and I think part of that is just because if you want to own the art and you're really that big a fan of the merchandise, it gives you a physical form forever to have that album. And I think that's what the appeal is for records. Excuse me, my voice is going in now a little bit. So it's just really guitar and singing. It's a smooth track. It's not a hit, though it's thought-provoking. And that's what I'm going to say about the first track for Famous. He has quite a bit of tracks on this album, so I'm going to try to get through them as fast and sensibly as I can. Track 2, Famous Lies. It's a very short song. It's kind of a skit. He's got these kind of, in this album, instead of skits, he has these like little short, like 808 type songs that kind of build into the next track. I'm not sure if I like it, I'm not sure if I don't. I guess, some skits really fall, so this was a safe way of doing it. But it just kind of added filler into the album that really wasn't even needed to be there. Kind of an 808 thing. The only thing I got from that skit is that being famous creates lies, masks, and changes you and everyone you associate with. And he uses electric piano and 808s in the beats from what I could tell, and it might be an ode to a girl in his past, which it's the deepest skit in the album. Track 3, Love You Better. Now here's where I'm going to start to get critical on this album. Now the track, it talks about how he can love a girl better than her man, which is something that's been recycled in R&B songs all the time. I mean, Let Me Love You by Mario is something that comes first to mind. Trey Songz, half his songs is like that. There's some electronic beats in the background, some snares and drums, a lot of chorus. He brings in Wayne in this song, and Wayne does a good verse, and it sounded like old Wayne. It was quite refreshing to hear him on a verse. One of the verses I liked by Wayne was, pull up in an Uber, that's how I maneuver. Kind of just like, you never know where he's coming from. Using Uber probably makes him untraceable. He also says some other funny lines. She said she's a cougar when it comes to young Moolah. But the bad thing about it is that it's a short verse, but it's nice to hear Wayne for a change. And here's something I want to kind of talk about for the rest of the album, so I'm not repeating myself. There's a pattern in this album that I've noticed after reviewing the rest of the songs, and he uses this pattern where, I'm talking about Dolla ign, he uses this pattern where he keeps repeating his chorus, and he might put a verse in, and he'll put features on the album, and you'll be like, oh, Wayne's in this, oh, Future's in this, it's gotta be a dope song. But they're 30-second verses, so he's paying for real short features just to put a name on the track. And for the 30 seconds they're on, you don't really get much out of it. So that's where the album, I feel like, falls flat. It's very an inconsistent album. You know, some songs get really boring. Some of the beats are boring. There are some gems on the album, which I'm going to get to, but I just want to say that I've noticed just a pattern of just this repetitiveness of him repeating the chorus and then throwing someone else on, a feature on, and giving them like a 30 to 40 second verse that doesn't really help the song at all. And it makes the song not a deep song. When he does that, when he repeats the chorus over and over, I get the message the first time. You know, you love you better than her other man. I got it the first time he said it. He said it 100 times in the song and just threw Wayne on the 30-second chorus. That's why the song fell flat. You can't make music half-ass. And on this album, he made some songs that are great, and I've seen him perform. I know he can play guitar. I know he's very talented. But some of these songs were half-ass, or at least they felt that way. And I'm just gonna say that. Now you got X featuring YG, and right off the bat, when I look at my notes, it says repeat, 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 repeat. So again, on this song, it was an alright song, but there's no deepness to it. He's not trying to say anything. All he's saying is that he's telling his main girl he isn't coming home, and he's drinking after a long day. It's got some nice drums like sounds, and bass guitar, and some electronic sounds in the background that kind of keeps it kind of like in a groovy mode. But he's not talking about anything. He just keeps repeating it, and he throws YG on the track. And YG sounds good on the track, but again, he's only on for 30 to 40 seconds. And then he just keeps repeating the chorus. There's nothing more about the song that I could talk about him just telling his main girl he's not coming home. And he's going out. That's what he just keeps talking about. There's nothing more I can say about it. It's alright, I guess. Famous excuses. On my notes it said it's a slow song. Kind of sounds like a Party Next Door song. It does. I thought it was cool that there was some violins in the beat. But again, it was just like sounded like a skit to build up to a song. It was just like a build-up song to the next track. The track doesn't really make much sense. And that's really all I'm going to leave with that song. Next song, let's go to the next, Droptop. In the Rain with Tory Lanez. I was actually excited about this to see Tory Lanez in here. I feel like he's not used enough as he should be as a feature. So, again, I put in my notes that he keeps repeating his chorus. I know you love it. Kissing in public. Talk about PDA, I guess. Pussy feels like drop top in the rain. Now you got Tory Lanez, and I believe you also got this other guy. Who was it? What's his name? I'm sorry. There was another guy in the album, in the song. And I believe his name is 24 Hours. So, actually, that was the wrong song. I'm sorry about that. It is just Tory Lanez. So Tory Lanez carries this track, and his verse makes it refreshing and romantic. Once again, just has a short verse in it. And just a repeated chorus of drop top in the rain, I know you love it, kissing in public. The beat has piano sounds, synthesizers. He keeps saying he just wants to see the girl in his bed. Not a deep song, very on the surface. I thought there was another artist featured on this, but I got it mixed up with another song. He's got a lot of tracks, but it's mostly filler. Move on to the next one. Don't Judge Me, which I thought was going to be really good because it has Future and Sway Lee in it. But it still kind of falls flat even for the great features in it. He talks about how he's going through a lot. He came up. He doesn't trust people because of money. Probably because a lot of people are asking for money now that he has money. He touches on clothing brands. Keeps repeating not to judge him for his recreational drug use, and that he's been going through a lot in his life. It's an alright track, but still the beat could have been better for the two features he put on this. I mean, you got Future on here who helps carry the song, if anything, but short verse he gives him. Future just says, don't judge him for the mud, so he's just piggybacking off of Ty's recreational drug use. And it's short verse once again. Then you go to Sway Lee, who you think is going to really maybe deliver the track. But Sway Lee doesn't really fit for this type of song. He can't even relate to it in his verse because he doesn't really do drugs. In his lyrics, he says he's not agreeing with the other two. He'd rather talk about food and girls and talk about his recreational drug use, if he even has any. So he chose the wrong guy to put in this song. There's some synthesizer beats, really low snare drums, which makes it kind of boring for something that you expect to be a great song. There's a weird ending at the end. It kind of sounds like someone lost their voice. I'm not even sure what he's trying to say at the end of the song. Once again, a song that you have high expectations for, but it fell flat. Now, on a more positive note, not to totally down the album, you got Dawsin'sBreek, best song on the album. When I first heard it, it got me excited for the album. It's the reason why I wanted to review it. And as I reviewed it, I started noticing patterns of laziness and just paying for short features. But there's a couple gems on here. This is one of them, Dawsin'sBreek. It's the best song on the album. It's made the top charts. He does talk about basic things. It's not the deepest song, but the beat is very good. So good that it makes it replayable. So you want to keep listening to it. talks about getting a brand new coupe, brand new car, Rari, brand new girl. He kind of does this like this little like vocal point where he goes, "My bitch looks like ooh, and your bitch looks like nah nah." And the beat has clicks and synthesizers in it. It's got a killer beat. It kind of talks more about women coming and going in his life. He's repeating the chorus once again, like his other songs, but this time it's catchy. It's catchy enough that you don't care and you want to jam out to it. And then you have Jeremiah, who I didn't really expect to do as well as he did on this track. He surprisingly gives up the best feature on the album, I'd like to say, and he tries giving another verse surprisingly. And the good thing about the song is the high replay value, and it has everything to be a hit. It does, and it just worked out great. That's all I can say about it. It worked out really good. So that's one of the ones, Dawson's Breek, I think is a gem on the album. And it's the first one that I've really said is a gem. Okay, so next one. Don't Sleep on Me. So, let's see what he's talking about on this track. He doesn't even want to know if his girl is cheating on him. He doesn't even want to know. It's almost like it'll make him sick or give him depression. He's expressing his trust issues with this particular woman, or even women in general. The beat has some electronic sounds, some cymbals, slight snare. Keeps saying, don't creep on him. He's tired. He's tired of it. He's tired of unloyal girls. And that's pretty much all the song really has to offer. There's two features on this album that kind of make it better though, where you got this rapper 24 Hours. I'm not very familiar with him. And you got Future. But Future's just talking about Zans and Hublot watches, and it's short. And then 24 Hours just talks about he can't sip his lean, that's it. And nothing really stands out. Ty talks about his love experience with women, keeps warning to please be faithful to him. Track gets boring regardless of the feature. Beat is boring and weak. So this kind of felt like the other Future song we were talking about, which was, where was it here? Don't Judge Me, which was 2 tracks ago. It delivered the same boring sound, even with Future on it. He shouldn't have even paid for the feature. He wasted his money, because neither tracks are going to be hits. And it's not Future's fault. Ty just paid him for like a 30-second verse. It turned out flat. And you got another one. High Expectations, Pharrell and Wiz. Pharrell singing about a girl. It's called Stare. This track is called Stare. Ty has a somewhat catchy verse on this. It's got piano in the beat, some bass, some drums, background vocals are very faint, but the beat is too slow and it's boring. And that's the problem with the song. And just because it has a Pharrell feature, people think automatically the song's going to turn out good. It's not true. Pharrell is singing, but he does nothing to make the song exciting. There's no replay value for this song at all. And and it has Pharrell on it. Again, he throws these features on this album without delivering, and the album becomes frustrating. Because you only are going to listen to about 3 tracks on it. And if you listen to the whole one, you're just going to daydream and get bored. And I'm not trying to hate too much on Ty, but this is the truth about the album. There's a pattern of half-assedness and inconsistency in the album. The song sounds stale. Instead of called Stare, it should be called Stale. The track is boring, regardless of the features, like I said. The only positive part is that Wiz's verse is the only good part of the song. He tries to save it. And still not much replay value on this. Let's go to the next one. Famous Friends. This is just a weird sounding skit. I didn't talk much about it because there's nothing I got out of it. Another skit building up to a song. So you got So Am I. Now, here we go. Here's something positive. This is another hit song, and I'm sure you've heard it. The beat is upbeat and exciting, but I feel like it's only because he has Skrillex on the song. Skrillex is known for his production, so of course it's going to be a good sounding song. And he should have, I feel like on the album, he should have focused more on the production than throwing 30-second features of people that sound exciting to other people. He should have made more of a song, like an album, like, you know, like kind of like J. Cole, where not so much focus on features, but more on the production. Ty really needs to kind of show himself as an artist instead of depending all the time on Wiz and Future and all these little features. Because he's talented enough to make an album on his own, but he'll put 3 hits on and then make a half-ass album. So this is a hit song, So Am I. Like I said about Skrillex, I feel like he really saves the song for him entirely. Damian Marley delivers a refreshing feature because you don't hear him that much as a feature anymore. It's a cool song that works with his style of reggae. It has a high replay value on this song. I would listen to it many times. Has that electronic beat to it because of Skrillex. Chorus kind of does make the song. And then you got this, you got that electronicness in the middle of it that's from Skrillex. It's awesome, but it also this song exposes just how inconsistent the album is. And that's all I really wanted to say about it. Now, a little favorite. This is what I'd like to say is the hidden gem of the album. It's, of course, maybe not a hit song, but it's a hidden gem, and I like the track. Ty gets a little deeper. It's not so much as repetitive and surface. He gets personal with his lyrics for once. He's being up all night. It's got a cool beat. Made in Tokyo, surprisingly, really helps carry the track with a smooth, like, new wave twist he puts on it. It's short though, and I feel like Made in Tokyo should have had a longer verse, but at the same time he's so new, I can't really tell with him how long he can really go on a verse. But this is a deep track because he kind of talks about, I don't know, I'm listening to it right now. He's just talking about his daily stresses, daily life, and then Made in Tokyo really kind of carries the song with a nice verse. It's a smooth track, and that's what I like about it. I'm not trying to be so negative on this album. I got the next song, In Your Phone. The song is relatable, which I like. Every guy has been there, and being with a girl that hides things from her man because of like social media or something, that's what he talks about here. It's one of the deepest songs on the album. Not so much as replayable, but it's deep for a change. He talks about, even wanting revenge because of this. But then he has another artist, Lauren Draghi, who I haven't heard of. I just haven't heard much of her music, and she kind of flip-flops with him, kind of like on Neon Guts with Lil Uzi and Pharrell, where they're kind of accusing each other of the same thing, and it's a reflection of couples like in the new age and with technology, where they're both accusing each other of being slightly unfaithful because of things like of going out or social media or hiding things, or it's really relatable but it's cool because it shows that both sexes kind of feel the same way. In some, in most relationships, it can become untrusting. So, it's got some cool snares in the beat. It's got some synthesizers. It's an alright song. It's not a hit, but it's alright. So we're gonna go to the next song, All the Time. So in this song, he's expressing his love for someone that's on his mind, and it's interesting. Towards the end of the album, that's where he puts his deeper tracks. He's kind of recalling the past, very R&B-ish, kind of Boys to Men-ish, which is cool. I like that. He throws that R&B vibe, kind of like with Something New with Wiz, which I think he should have did more on the album. Instead, he focused on features. He should have focused more on himself. The song does sound contradictory at times, from going to nostalgia, and then knowingly he pleases her the best. So it's kind of like, it's really just a song about nostalgia with a woman. It's not replayable, but it's deep. Some of the background instrumentals, you got snare and popping sounds. It's mixed well. The beat sounds that it could be sampled. It sounds familiar. Even the chorus kind of sounds like a song that may have came out in the late 80s, early 90s R&B. I could be wrong, but there's a familiarity about this song that it could be sampled. Very an R&B track, Trey Song-ish. Not a bad track. So let's go to the next one. Famous Amy. So this is another skit, 808, Party Next Door sounding skit to build up to the next track. I didn't write anything else about it because it doesn't really sound like he's talking about anything. Rather filler. So now is Side Effects, which is another hidden gem I put on my list. I even think it could be a hit. He's being warned. It's got an awesome up-tempo in the beat of it. I feel like it's underrated. He's talking about, when she comes around, he can't eat, can't sleep. He's expressing the side effects of being with this girl, or had been with this girl, and that she warned him, or he was warned by others, that the side effects that are going to come with being with this girl. And this is a great analogy or metaphor to even drugs. You're kind of warned of the side effects before taking something, but yet you take it anyway because it looks like a good time. Very intelligent, genius metaphor analogy right here. I wish he would have showed more of this on the album. It's got like a cool dance hall style chorus to it. I feel like could be a club song, definitely. And he kind of, he touches on that, his world's been gone since she's left him. So it's really about someone that, took a toll on him emotionally. It's deep and it sounds good. And I wish he would have put more of tracks like this on the album. He didn't need a feature for it. He did it himself. And that's what more I wish he would have did. A good song. Definitely replayable. Okay, so we're going to go to the next one. Famous Last Words. It's just another interlude. I didn't touch on it just because, again, it's pointless. Filler song. Message in the Bottle. I've heard this one before. It's slow, but it works. I think it's just the beat. It's got, light drum snares on it. And it's got if you can listen real closely, it's got a harp sounding way to it. I love the title. It's slow, but he sings to the beat perfectly. And that's what makes a good slow song. Just being able to stay melodic with the beat. Does it perfect. It's the best slow song on the album. It's talking about leaving a girl's house. The song sounds like he's talking about a hangover after being too drunk to drive home. It's very poetic, this song, and I think that's what really shines about it, and I wish he would have been more poetic with the rest of his album, instead of relying on short features. Because to me, it looks like he does better on his own than relying on a bunch of features. I do think Wiz helps him, but that's the only artist I think that does. Skrillex, too, may help him with his production. But that's something new. The merging of kind of hip-hop and electronic. That's something new that's kind of going on. And then you have the Nate Howard intro, which was... it's a skit about enjoying the moment. It talks about being hated more for being more positive. It's a poem of self-expression. It's about leaving a legacy, the importance of it. It's about someone who never knew that they inspired Ty Dolla $ign. So he's kind of like talking about someone who is deceased, one of his idols, musically, that never knew that they were a source of inspiration to him. And I think it's the best skit and outro on the album. It's one of the best outros I've heard. The guy's voice is really deep, which makes it a little strange, but it's poetic. That's all I have to say about the tracks of the album. The album itself, I feel like I've said it again and again. Overall, there are some nice tracks on it, but I would only replay 3 or 4 songs on it. I think the album would get boring on a full album listen. Even after listening to it 1 to 2 times, I kind of got bored from certain songs and I couldn't wait for the next track. There's definitely some stuff that he could work on. It may be one of his better releases, but I wish he would have just kind of, like I said before, just kind of focused more on himself in the album than on features. So the grade I'm giving this album, I'll give it a C+. I think that's generous enough. It was alright. It was good. And that's the album dissection with me, Phil Palazzolo. If you felt differently about the album, please let me know. Any other thoughts, any albums you guys would like me to review in the future, please tell me in the comments section. Don't forget to subscribe, and have a great day. This is the album dissection.